welcome back to Xavier's World. How are you guys doing today? Well, today, guys, I just want to say thank you guys so much for all the wonderful likes and dislikes on my videos, and the wonderful comments that I've gotten on my video for the guinea pig video. I will be doing a update, like a part 2 to the guinea pigs, because I found some more information that I want to share with you guys. I just want to say thank you guys so much for that wonderful comment. I really appreciate that. That means a lot to me. And I also want to say thank you guys also for the likes on my Pac-Man frog video. I thought I would do a part 2 to Pac-Man frogs because a lot of you have private messaged me and told me that you love the video and you want to learn more about them. So I've got some other stuff here. Now some of them might be repeated that I said before in the first video. So if I do that again, I do apologize, but I want to make sure I get the information out there for you guys so you guys are well aware of the proper care of how to take care of a Pac-Man frog. Now, I'm not a huge reptile person. I will be honest with you guys because I'm an honest person and I tell the truth. Just reptiles are just not for me, but if you love reptiles, this is going to be a great video for you guys. All right, 5 things you need to know about Pac-Man frogs. Now, this is from an actual website that I'm actually reading from that gives you facts about the history of a Pac-Man frog, where they come from, where they got the name, where they come from, and all that stuff. It tells you every single thing from housing, what housing that you could use for your Pac-Man frog, and the things that you need to feed them, the temperature, and all of that stuff. So I'm going to go ahead and do that right here for you guys, so let's not make this video too long. Experience level. They're beginners. They are great for beginners. However, I would not recommend a child under the age of like 5 maybe, or under 10, because it's going to be a lot more work for them, and I don't think that they would be able to do that, but that's just my opinion. The size, they can grow up to 8 inches to 20 centimeters long. Female Pac-Man frogs are bigger than the males. Lifespan of Pac-Man frogs, they can live up to 5 years to 15 years. Just depending on how well you take care of them and how well you keep their habitat clean, they can live a long time. What is in the name? They are named after the resemblance of a star from the 1980s, the Pac-Man video game. Did you know that some of the only frogs that have teeth, they're the only frogs that have teeth? That's awesome. How to set up your Pac-Man's frog's home. They should live alone. That's like with any animal, like hamsters and all that. They should live alone. However, if they grew up in the same family, if they're brother and sisters and they grew up together, then you could possibly maybe put the two sisters together. But technically, they like to live alone. A Pac-Man frog should live in a terrarium that is a minimum of 10 gallons. You can put them in a 20-gallon tank, and I have seen bigger. I've seen other YouTubers have bigger tanks. Like they always say, bigger the better. The terrarium should have a screen lid. I've seen a lot of YouTubers have that. Line the bottom of the terrarium with 2 to 4 inches to 5 to 10 centimeters of coconut fiber or bark bedding. Your frog will enjoy burrowing in it. Okay. Remove droppings frequently and change out the bedding completely at least once a month. You want to make sure that you clean the frog's terrarium, once a month. You want to make sure you do a deep cleaning. And that's with any pet, whether it's a guinea pig, a hamster, whatever. You want to make sure that you do a deep cleaning because you want to make sure it's clean and it's sanitary and very healthy for them. You want to stock the terrarium with appropriate live plants and appropriate store-bought branches for hiding. Provide a shallow bowl of water large enough for the frog to sit in. Now, Pac-Man frogs cannot swim. They will drown. You don't want to get a huge bowl. You want to get a shallow one for them so they can just sit in it. Then they will drown. Now, this is about heat and light. Now, there's a lot of people that are misconstrued about that. There are some people that are misinformed, that they don't understand. Now, I would never mislead anybody about this. I have done my research. I do have friends that do have Pac-Man frogs. I do know, and I've talked to other people that have them, and I have watched YouTube videos of Pac-Man frog owners, and they have put a heating pad underneath their tank. They have, and they also have a heated like pad or something that they put actually inside their terrarium, and it's not set really hot for them, and it's just warm, just lukewarm, and that is perfectly safe to put in there. I would not lie about something like that. So I have done my research, and I've talked to, like I said, other YouTubers, and I have friends that are Pac-Man frog lovers, and they do all that stuff. So I just want to put that disclaimer out there. Your Pac-Man frog's terrarium should be between 75 to 85 degrees Fahrenheit, 24 to 29 Celsius. That is what they need during the day. They need that temperature during the day, because Pac-Man frogs cannot regulate their own body temperature. They cannot do that. So you need to help them to maintain their body temperature. And between 65 to 75 Fahrenheit and 18 to 24 Celsius. You want to make sure that is for them at night. That is the temperature that you have to have, and you stick to that. If it's like 64 and you make it 74, you just have to make sure you help them regulate their body temperature. It's very important you do that. If necessary, use a heat light or an under tank heater to warm their terrarium. This, I cannot stress enough, this is the truth. You have to do that. You can either put a tank heater warmer underneath their terrarium. You can, or you can just use lights. Okay, it's what you prefer. But I've seen people prefer more the the heating underneath the tank. A thermometer in your habitat will help you monitor the temperature. You also want to use a habitat humidity should be between 50% to 80%. You also want to make sure you get a thermometer to monitor the moisture and all of that in their terrarium. You want to make sure you have that, because you always want to follow that to a book. You want to follow it to a T. You don't want to go under, you don't want to go high above it, because if you do, you could harm your poor little frog. You don't want that. Appropriate live plants in their terrarium will help them regulate the habitat's humidity level. You also want to consult with looking online. You want to also talk to other Pac-Man frog owners, what live plants that they would recommend. You want to make sure you put the right ones in there. Use a device or gauge to keep track of the moisture in the tank, is what I said before. So you want to make sure you have that. Pac-Man frogs are nocturnal, more active at night. They don't require sunlight, but they do need lighting that mimics day and night in their habitat. If it's in a dim room, light the terrarium for 12 hours a day, and with a fluorescent light bulb at night. You want to do that, and then that way you have, it's like a dull, but you can still see your frog at night. If you're, if it's in your bedroom, whatever, you can still see your frog if they're, okay and active. Then they also have links to purchase the heating stuff, the lights, the lamps, all of that stuff. They have it out on here. What do Pac-Man frogs eat? I may have said this before in the very first video, but I will say it again. Pac-Man frogs are, they enjoy a variety menu of crickets, silkworms, and occasional mealworms or waxworms. Depending on how and where you live, not every pet store is going to be the same price. More, depending on where you live, some can be higher and some can be lower. And sometimes you can order in bulk on Amazon, eBay, and stuff like that. Just, again, do your research and read and find where the cheapest that you can get mealworms and waxworms and silkworms for your Pac-Man frog. And that's just with any pet, whether it's a hamster, a guinea pig. You can always look online and you can always find it cheaper somewhere to order it in bulk in certain places because, like I said, every state is different. Some stores are higher and some stores are lower, just depending on the area you live in, stuff like that. So if somebody says, oh, here where I live in Minnesota, and I only paid $3 for mealworms. Well, out here, it may not be $3 for where I live. You know, it could be $4, you know, or it may be $2. You don't know. So that's where some people are misconstrued about prices and stuff. You want to feed your frogs every 2 to 3 days in the evening. You want to feed them in the evening, never in the morning, because they're sleeping. Pac-Man frogs need vitamin D and calcium to ensure that the frog is getting the necessary nutrients. Choose crickets that are gut-loaded. You want to make sure their bellies are full to feed them. That is fed a commercially available nutrients diet. When the frog eats the crickets, those nutrients will be transferred to your pet 2 or 3 times a week. Dust insects with supplement calcium for bone growth. Feed your frog only enough insects that can be consumed overnight. You don't want to put more insects in there than what they're going to eat. So if you want to put like 2 or 3 in there, that's fine. You don't want to put any more in there because it's just not good. If there are uneaten insects in your frog's terrarium, feed your frog fewer insects in the future. So if you put 3 in there and there's 2 left, maybe you just want to feed your Pac-Man frog 1 cricket. If you feed them 3 and they eat 2 of them and there's 1 left, you only feed them 2. You know, it's just common sense. Pac-Man frogs, how you want to keep them healthy. Pac-Man frogs are not very active. So don't worry if you're basically sits in one spot waiting for food. That's normal for a frog. Pac-Man frogs have sensitive skin. They do not like to be handled. They don't like to be touched. Again, frogs are not meant to take out and play with and hold them and carry them around and stuff like you do with hamsters. Alright guys, I apologize about that. I got a phone call right in the middle of filming my video. But it was a good phone call. It was a good phone call. So anyway, like I was saying about Pac-Man frogs, there are, you know, when you're having a pet frog, like I said, I was talking about how to keep them healthy. You know, try not to handle your new Pac-Man frog, you know, for at least 3 to 4 days because you want to give them a chance to get acclimated to their new surroundings. Whether your frog is new or settled in, be sure to contact a vet if you notice any of these symptoms of, you know, illnesses or distress. Sometimes, you know, when you get a new pet, you know, like it's either a hamster, a gerbil, a rat, a frog, whatever it is, you want to make sure that you let them get used to their surroundings, their habitat, you know, the noises, and let them get familiar with their area and everything like that before you start going in and stressing them out by wanting to touch them, to play with them, or to whatever. You want to make sure that the animal has time to get used to their new home, and you don't want to stress them out. Now, symptoms for illnesses of distress on a Pac-Man frog, you know, of course, is make more time spent they're hiding. If they're hiding all the time and they never come out, eating or drinking less, and there's weight loss, discolored skin, swollen joints, discharges from the eyes, nose, or the mouth, runny droppings more than 2 days. Here's some pet safety tips. I don't know if I've said this before in the first video, but I'm going to say it here. Always wash your hands before you touch any animal, whether it's a frog, a hamster, or a rat, whatever it is. You want to make sure your hands are washed and cleaned and sterile before you touch your pet, because, you know, they will either, if they smell food on you, they're going to either bite, scratch, whatever. Let's see. You always want to make sure you, like I said, after, when you wash your hands, you want to make sure after you touch them, or if you clean their habitat, you make sure you want to keep your hands clean. Use caution when handling your pets. Pac-Man frogs have sensitive skin and do not enjoy being handled. So please do not touch your frog. They don't like to be handled as much. They don't like to because they have very, very, very sensitive skin. Supervise children around your frog. You know, if they're little, you want to, supervise them, because they will reach in and grab it and not realize that they are not supposed to do that, because they just think, oh, it's a cute little pet, I'm going to play with it. No. So you have to be very, very, very watchable with children that are young. All animals can potentially carry viral, bacterial, fungal, and parasitic diseases that are contagious to humans. Adults should assist children with hand washing after contact with a pet, its habitat, or aquarium water. So if your kids reach their hands in and touch the hamsters or something like that, or fish water, or they touch a frog, a snake, whatever, you want to make sure that you wash their hands very, very, very thoroughly. You want to do that. You also want to make sure you give your animal lots of love, that you get the proper tools and the proper care that you need to give that animal, because they depend on you to take care of them and to love them, and, because they can't do it themselves. Pac-Man frogs, yes, they're beginner animals. Yes, they say they're easy to take care of. Some say that they're inexpensive to take care of. However, buying a frog may be cheap, but the supplies and the terrariums, sometimes they're not as cheap. Terrariums can get very, very, very expensive. The terrariums that I have for my hamsters, they were very expensive. And, but that was taken into consideration when we got the hamsters. We knew that was going to be expensive. And, you can always find constant deals online. You can look on, for coupons and, better deals on Amazon, eBay, whatever. You could always find good deals. And there's nothing wrong with looking for good deals. They may recommend this light for your frog, but you can find something similar to that for less of the price paid for the expensive one. And there's nothing wrong with that. Have fun with it. Enjoy your new little frog. Have fun with it, and that's the best part about it, that, you can decorate it, you can put it however you want. You can have a 10-gallon, a 20-gallon terrarium tank. I have seen them, that are the long ones. Frogs really don't need a lot of space. They really don't. A 10-gallon is the perfect size for them because, again, one, they're not very active. They could just sit in the corner for hours and hours and hours waiting for food. That's just what frogs do. They're not the kind of animals where they need a lot of space to run and play. They don't need that because, again, frogs just sit and burrow. That's all they do. So if you're thinking about getting a Pac-Man frog or a different kind of frog, whichever kind, if it's a tree frog, just a basic frog, just do your research, read it up, look it up, and find things, and talk to other people. Don't be afraid to ask questions. You want to make sure that it is the right pet for you and your family. Just remember that it is a little hard work with a Pac-Man frog because you have to make sure you regulate the temperatures for them during the day, and then you have to regulate the temperatures for them at night. Then you have to have the lighting for 12 hours during the day, and then have the fluorescent light bulb for them for 12 hours at night, so it's a little dimmer for them, and you can still see your frog at night if you're sleeping in your bed or if you're sitting in the living room. Wherever you have your frog sitting at, you could still see your frog throughout the night. If you get up, you can still see your frog and check on him to make sure he or she is okay. You know, their lifespan is between 5 to 15 years. Sometimes they can live longer. It just depends on how dedicated and how well you take care of them and how well you keep their habitat clean. And you can't just have mealworms or waxworms or silkworms, and you can't just have them and then set them somewhere and totally forget about them. That's neglecting. You have to keep track of all of their stuff. It's the same way with a dog, a cat, a hamster, or anything like that. So be sure before you purchase a Pac-Man frog that you do your research to make sure that this is what you really want and that you are going to be devoted and take the time to help this little guy. So again, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe button, and hit that little bell up there so you'll be notified when me and my awesome bestie here upload a video on Xavier's World. And I will see you guys next time. Until then, remember, God does love you.